Welcome to Matchback Systems podcast. In this episode, we're talking about technology in the logistics sector. It's a pleasure to introduce our industry expert today, Joel Tracy. Joel is the Chief Information Officer with IMC Companies, a leading marine container drayage and intermodal tracking provider. Welcome, Joel, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Heather. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Thank you. So to start, can you tell us about IMC Companies and your role as CIO?
Well, IMC Companies is the largest container drayage provider in the country. We've got a team of over 2,000 drivers nationwide. IMC Companies is a family of motor carriers, and we're in pretty much every major port and rail city in the United States.
And what about your role, Joel?
Well, my role as CIO is that I'm responsible for all the technology, all the network, all the applications that are from our trucks all the way to our corporate headquarters in Memphis, Tennessee. I've been in the position for about 7 years, and I'm actually the company's first CIO in our 38-year history.
Okay. And you've got a big family to look after by the sounds of it. Huh.
Yeah, we have, we're a family of 8 companies, and that's 7 motor carriers and a brokerage business unit.
Okay. Now let's start with the pandemic. I mean, it dramatically changed the supply chain landscape last year, and the stress continues. So, what impact has this had on your activities? Did you have to pivot in any way with your systems? What changes did you have to make to workflow processes?
Well, hindsight's always 20/20, but we, thank goodness, our company has really always been technology focused, and we started investing heavily in technology that improved efficiencies for our customers and our drivers and our team members several years ago. And when the pandemic hit, we were just able to capitalize on all that investment that we've made. Originally when we started, for example, investing in tablets for every truck, every driver that we had, the original purpose was, for drivers to be able to receive dispatches and update arrival and departure time from origin and destination right from the truck, without having to come into the office. And then, and also to be able to upload documents, receive bill of lading, receive hazmat documentation that they have to have in the truck. And what we found was when the pandemic hit, we were able to capitalize on that because drivers don't want to touch paperwork, customers don't want to touch paperwork, and we already had it electronic on our tablets. And so we were very fortunate to have made all these investments over the last several years, that we were just able to keep our business moving. And thank goodness we had that, because with the volumes that we've seen in 2020, which seems like it's going to continue into 2021.
Yeah.
Those investments are going to continue to pay off for us.
Yes. So you're ahead of the curve. And what about the shift to remote working for employees? What was your experience with that transition?
Well, I think like many businesses, specifically transportation and logistics businesses, we're always trying to modernize and being flexible with employees. Employees need to work from home when their child is sick and has to be home from school, or there's the plumber or the cable guys coming. And so we had always been investing in technology that allowed employees to VPN in from home. But we had just prior to COVID hitting, we had just renewed our infrastructure because of info security concerns, which is also a growing concern across the transportation and logistics industry, as we all know.
Oh, interesting.
And thank goodness we had just updated all of our VPN and endpoint technology.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we were able to overnight, when a majority of our employees started working from home, not skip a beat because we had already had that technology in place. Again, fortunate again, but it's kind of interesting how one thing forces you to do a technology and then you end up using it for a totally different purpose than you really thought you were going to have to. And COVID is a great example of that.
Yes, yeah. So you have to be nimble. And with all the disruption and pressure on container flows, there's been a premium placed on visibility and real-time data. And I imagine your customers have an acute need at the moment for access to up-to-date information about the status of their shipments. And I know that the system that IMC Companies provides has a great reputation, including ready access to accurate and real-time data. So Joel, can you tell us about your approach to meet the demand for greater visibility?
Well, I originally came from the package parcel industry, where tracking, parcel shipments near real time and knowing exactly where it was from origin to destination was just part of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came here, we were seeing that no matter how big the package is, it could be a small package all the way up to a giant 40-foot container. Customers have become conditioned to expect that same experience, no matter how big their shipment is or how small. And so, what we, and I would say that FedEx, UPS, Amazon, even the U.S. Postal Service, you get that experience, and customers want that same thing with their international containerized shipment.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, when you order your Uber or your Lyft driver to come pick you up at the house to take you to an airport or whatever, you can track that vehicle all the way. People are just so conditioned now for that type of experience. We knew it was only a matter of time before that was going to be an impact or expected in the marine drayage space. And so several years ago, we started putting everything in place to do that. And I'll tell you, Heather, what really caused us to really start investing in this was, the whole ELD, electronic logging device, and hours of service requirements that were put in place in I think it was December of 17,
Mm-hmm.
which was finally mandated. But we had put that in place years before that. I think actually we were one of the earlier adopters of ELD technology.
Okay.
And our thought behind that was, look, this is an ELDs are an important safety feature, no doubt, and monitoring and making sure that we were within, regulations on hours that our drivers were driving. Why not do something with that data? And why, if we're going to make a huge investment in ELD technology, let's capitalize on that investment and use the data. And with those ELD devices, every time a driver touches the brake, turns on the turning signal, does anything in the truck, it's dropping data. And that data tells you where the truck is when that event's occurring. And what IMC, what we were able to do is capitalize on that and take that data and feed it in to our systems, our applications, our websites, and actually even share that data with our customers. Our customers all have visibility, real-time visibility platforms now, we're able to push that data all the way to our customer systems. And so they don't have to use our website. They can even use their own system, and they can see near real time where is their shipment, which used to be a black hole, right? So when a ship came into port and that international shipment started transiting on land, it just disappeared until it showed up at your distribution center or warehouse. Well, now with ELD technology and motor carriers able to provide that data, customers having visibility platforms to display that data or use motor carrier websites like ours, they're able to see where is that thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool on how we're able to, again, take something that was a practical need and reuse technology that we had to put in place anyway to provide value-added services to our customers.
Yeah, that's really interesting how, a system to meet transport regulations, is turned into something of benefit for customers. And while we're talking about technology in the truck, I'm not sure people, especially outside the industry, realise just how much tech there can be on a truck and in the cab. And what's the latest smart equipment or technology that you're seeing to help drivers and your company's operations?
Well, I think that's an excellent point, Heather. And when we buy a brand new tractor and it comes off the assembly line and it comes into our main tractor maintenance facility in Memphis before it gets deployed to the field, we outfit that tractor with ELD technology, our tablet, technology, and the software that goes along with that, as well as video event recorders that capture, if there's a hard brake event, there's 60 seconds of video before the event and maybe 2 minutes after, or there's an impact event. Again, that recording is snapped and uploaded near real time to our provider, where we're able to see that video. We're able to use it for coaching our drivers on safety, and we're able to use it, to protect ourselves if it wasn't necessarily our fault.
Right, especially with all the sort of nuclear verdicts going on at the moment.
Yes.
And I love that you use it for training purposes. I think that's great, Joel.
Go
on.
That's we have driver instructors in every one of our locations nationwide, and that's their main job is to onboard new drivers and teach the drivers IMC safety first culture. Our goal is to be the safest motor carrier in the United States, and that's what you have to do to achieve that. And then also we have systems that monitor the data coming from the truck that create a driver scorecard that our driver instructor is able to sit down periodically with our drivers and go over their scorecard and give them that pat on the back if they're doing a great job, and also coach that driver if there's room for improvement. As a matter of fact, IMC rewards our safe drivers with bonus checks, and that's a very popular thing among our drivers. It's almost a badge of honor that they get this big check. They get a picture of their check with the terminal manager, and it shows that they are a safe driver, and it's somebody, a driver that other drivers want to mimic and look up to.
Yeah, that's really cool. So let's pan out big picture. and talk about innovation in the industry. I mean, historically, trucking hasn't been viewed as on the cutting edge of technology, but there's lots of press about innovation in the sector. And I mean, in your opinion, what are the driving factors for innovation?
Well, I would say the drivers for innovation are usually businesses, like transportation companies like IMC, trying to gain efficiencies,
Mm-hmm.
trying to have that decision advantage where you're making a decision as fast as possible on the best business outcome. And I'll give you an example of that on the trucking side. On the trucking side, we're handling thousands of container moves a day across the United States, and we wrote our own internal dispatch optimization system and algorithms that are constantly monitoring our available shipments that are available to be picked up at port and rail, or at our customer locations that need to be taken to port or rail. And that system is constantly making recommendations to our dispatchers and drivers on this is the most optimal container to pick up next, which minimizes our empty or bobtail miles and maximizes our revenue miles, and also helps us meet our customers' requirements for meeting scheduled appointment times for pickup and delivery. And so, you just can't, it's difficult to go out in the market and find something like that. And sometimes you have to innovate and build on your own when you have a business need.
Yeah. And I mean, do you see any challenges still out there that are keeping CIOs awake at night?
Well, I mean, certainly, with the volume that most transportation logistics providers have these days, certainly automating the workflow of transactions and documents that get moved along the order to pay cycle is certainly something I think that a lot of motor carriers constantly are improving and adding technology, innovative technology to automate.
Right.
Certainly optical character recognition, robotic process automation, RPA, is another hot technology. I mean, in the transportation industry, I think everyone's trying to automate as much as possible, but there's still manual points along the process of where you need to maybe log on to a customer's website and update their website, which is a manual effort. But when you've got a customer that's maybe high volume, maybe they don't have an API or the ability to connect with them electronically, our RPA technology allows you to record keystrokes and repeat keystrokes, say on a website, and eliminate manual labor that allows that the group that has to do that to focus on exceptions rather than the norms, and so that's a huge win. And so RPA is a hot topic right now, and I think a lot of people are adopting that technology.
Okay. And then just to finish up, let's just sort of reflect on 2020. I'm interested to hear your takeaways from last year. I mean, from your perspective, what were the lessons and what were the successes?
Well, I think the lessons from 2020 is that you always have to be nimble. There's you might have a plan for the quarter or for the fiscal year, and events can change that plan very quickly. And I think in the transportation world, you just have to be nimble, and you have to be willing to adjust, and creative on reusing maybe technology or processes that you put in place for one reason, and turn around and repurposing it for another. And I just think that's just, a good practice. And I don't think that 2021 is going to be any different. I think we're going to have to continue to be on our toes, and just have a good business attitude that, what, these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a good attitude, and you're constantly building good relationships with your customers, your drivers, your equipment providers, that your business will continue to be strong.
Yes. I mean, and I think a lesson learned is that the resilience and the innovation in the industry, it's been tremendous over the last year. The collaboration, it's just been great. Okay, it's been lovely talking with you, Joel. For anybody who'd like to connect with Joel and IMC Companies, the website address is imcc.com. So thanks very much, Joel, for taking the time to share your views and experience with us.
Thank you for having me, Heather.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you.